What's going on, guys? I want to talk about consistency when it comes to trading, but not maybe in a sense that you've been looking at it. So a lot of times, we hear things like you need to be consistent, you need to have a good R to R, you need to stay disciplined. We get it, right? We get all those cliche things. But what exactly does that mean, and how can we implement it into our daily trading routine to be able to be consistent, right? So what I like to do, and maybe this will help you guys in the future, is I like to look at my consistency in terms of how much I'm winning per trade and losing per trade, not necessarily on a trade by trade basis, but on an overall day by day basis. What that means is a lot of the strategies that I use, and I use a handful of strategies, 4, 5, 6 different strategies that we teach inside of Evolution Traders, but a lot of these strategies have a dynamic stop loss. And the reason for the dynamic stop loss is because different periods of time, different days, different hour of the day, the volatility is different on the NASDAQ 100. The average true range is greater on some days. There was a day this week where volatility and the range on a 5-minute candlestick was pushing 40 points. But earlier in the week, it was trading at around 20 to 21 points. So there's some adjustability that needs to be met there if you want to keep your overall wins and losses the same. So what I like to do, if we focus on the right-hand side of the chart here, and we're going to be looking at a setup that I took from Friday, and this setup is just a very simple break and retest followed by a remount of this VWAP. So this yellow line here is the VWAP, and if you look at this candle that closes back over VWAP, that range is 52 points. Now, for a lot of traders, they're going to get into thinking, wow, 52 points, there's no way that I'm going to give up that much risk. There's no way I want to be a part of it. And what I look at in order to stay consistent is I don't necessarily look at how many points I'm going to give up, but I think about what am I willing to risk, right? And that starts off with a personal daily loss limit based on your account size and how much drawdown you have. So for example, if you're trading a $50,000 account and you're starting off with $2,500 worth of drawdown, well, I don't think it would be safe to be risking $1,000 per trade, right? I don't think it would be smart to be risking $700 a trade, $500 a trade. I would want to be somewhere in the ballpark of $200 to $300 per trade. That way I know I can at least afford to take 8 to 10 trades. And as long as my strategies are not operating at a 5-10% win rate, which I don't think anyone's strategies are, you're going to be okay. And the math is going to do what the math needs to do, and you're going to make money over the long haul. Now, when you look at this particular setup, although that the range is 52 points, and technically on this bounce here, if I was to get in on the remount of this VWAP, closure back above, and let's say it kind of stalls around and comes back down and then loses a low of day. Well, I'm no longer going to want to be in that trade. But in order for me to see this move play out, to see if it's going to stop me out, I'm going to need to at least risk 52 points. But I don't want to give up $1,000 on that potential stop loss. So how I'm going to control that is by the number of contracts and the size of contracts that I'm playing. For example, if I'm willing to risk $200 to $300 a day, then maybe on this particular trade, I can only trade 2 or 3 micros, okay? And maybe I'm targeting either a half ATR, which would be something like 20 to 25 points, or maybe even trying to target the full 40, 50, 60 point move. Again, the choice is yours. I just want to really talk about the risk in keeping that risk consistent. Now, for a lot of people, they would tell themselves, well, normally I'm trading 1 mini, or normally I'm trading 5 micros. They see the setup happen, they get into the setup doesn't work, they lose, and they take a big $700, $800, $900 loss, and they're kind of like, oh my gosh, why did this lose? What could I have done better? Well, we've got to keep those overall winning days and losing days about the same. So if average, you're walking away with a $200, $300 winning day, we do not want our worst day to be anything greater than $300. And how you want to break that up is going to be completely dependent on how many accounts you have to trade, on how much you want to trade. If you're someone who's looking for 1 or 2 setups a day, then maybe I would be willing to risk a little bit more, maybe 3 micro contracts to make $200 on this potential trade. That way, in case the trade loses and it's just a losing trade, I can just walk away with 1 simple loss and I can keep my average winning day and average losing day the same. Now, maybe you're someone who doesn't have a lot of accounts and maybe you are looking to take more trades on each individual account, then maybe I would trade one micro. On one micro on this particular setup, you'd be giving up about $100, which means that if you're willing to risk $200 or $300 on the day, you could essentially afford to take 3 losing trades of 50 points and still be under a $300 total daily loss limit, which is going to keep you in line. Now, again, if you're looking to risk even less than $100, then maybe this particular setup is not going to be for you, because the last thing that I would want to see anyone do is, let's say, give ourselves a 15 or 20 point stop loss somewhere here, watch this market kind of bounce and then wick you out, only to see it do what it did, and then you are stuck holding the bag wondering, why did my setup get stopped out? Because on your each particular setups, you have to understand that there's a technical reason for entry. There's a technical reason for a stop loss, okay? So if you are cutting your stop losses short, you are going to get stopped out more than you are going to win trades. I hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, leave a comment. Let me know how you guys did this week. By the way, guys, I've recently slashed everything for the next 2 people, 50% off to join Evolution Traders for a yearly package is 50% off. If you're also looking to jump in that 30-day boot camp circuit breaker mentorship, where we're going to be going over the ins and outs of how to kind of control that mind and put that into your trading plan and get those emotions to try to settle down a little bit, that is also 50% off. I'll see all of you guys on the next video. Also, Apex is 80% off right now with code DAnthony. Make sure you guys are using the code DAnthony. It's up at the top of the screen here if you guys want to see the spelling on that. 80% off with Apex. I'll catch all of you guys on the next video. Have a blessed and safe weekend, guys, and let's trade smart and safe.